Okay, so I've already done my review for the dog alien from the Aliens 3, so now let's go ahead and take a look at Ripley. I'm actually pretty impressed with this figure. She comes with 2 arms, like extra pieces of anatomy. That's not something you see from Neca. So to be able to have her just in her, to have her in her jacket or just in her tank top, I'm not sure how to display her. And I'm such a nerd, I feel like I should get 2, one for each. You know, I'm not sure. Hopefully, well, maybe I can do that. Sometimes you think about doing stuff like that, and then you go back and then you can't find the characters you're looking for. And speaking of not finding these characters, I swear these were supposed to be on the shelf on like June 22nd, and then yeah, man, I just been looking and looking and looking since then, and not finding them anywhere. They just weren't available anywhere. And you start getting to that point where like, oh goddamn, I'm gonna have to order it, aren't I? So I was thinking I was gonna have to do that. Luckily I didn't, which was good, because something that they do for this figure that I don't know if Neca's been doing this the whole time, I've never noticed it before, but they painted the nostrils. Like they made like 2 little black dots for the nostrils. I don't know if that's something they always did or this is just a thing they're gonna start doing going forward, but I thought that was kind of weird. Like I don't think I need you to do that. And the problem was, of all the Ripleys that you know were on the shelf for me to choose from, they all had weird nostrils. One had crazy ginormous nostril, like crazy pig nose Ripley. We're not like that weird Japanese torture thing. Yeah, so like, I don't know, if you're gonna order it, just beware, you might get a Ripley with gigantic ass nostrils. So I'm glad that I was able to find these and look at them in person, because that is not something I would have thought to inspect. Other ones had like, she's kind of got a bruise on her forehead, and for some other ones that looked a little weird. For some figures, the plastic looked kind of weird, like she was wet. I don't know what the hell that's about. But some, like maybe the lipstick wasn't like 100% perfect. And these are not like big deals. These would be like little nitpicky gripes, but I'm just that kind of person that if I can avoid that sort of thing, I'd like to avoid that sort of thing. Usually you're pretty good to go with Neca. It's not like, you know, Marvel Legends or something from Hasbro where you need a goddamn magnifying glass to make sure you're not getting something silly and weird wonky eyeball. Usually that's always pretty good on Neca, but I mean in the case of these particular you know, Fury Ripley's, they painted the nostrils and it just didn't come out good for all of them. I'd never seen that before. I thought that was weird as hell, but I mean, outside of that, I think the one that I got ended up looking pretty good. So without any more screwing around, let's just go ahead and open it up. So here's Ripley out of the package. I tried to put her in, not really sure what kind of pose I was going for here. It's just that her hand, it's molded specifically to, you know, to be holding her flashlight, but I feel like it's also the same way that people hold a cigarette. So I guess I was trying to give her some sort of Marlboro Man pose. I don't know. So let's go ahead and look at her accessories. She comes with a few, and some of these you don't get with Neca figures, and I'll just start with those. That'll be her arms. You usually don't get body parts with Neca. Not unless you're getting an ultimate figure. Then maybe you'll get some body parts. So she has these arms, so you can remove those arms, and then you can take the jacket off, which is like a softer piece of plastic. And then this way she can just be wearing her tank top. That's really great. Right now, if you are reading the Predator comics, there's Predator Life and Death. If you're not reading them, I would recommend them, because so far I think it's pretty cool. The main character, well, I guess there's several main characters, but like the main commander is this really tough female. And she has short hair, like a shaved head, and I really kind of want to get another one of these Ripleys to try and make like a custom figure of her, because I like her so far. I think she's pretty cool. So, and I know they'll never make a toy of her, at least not anytime soon. So I'm thinking Ripley's upper body, and then maybe that Linda Hamilton, you know, Sarah Connor, the Ultimate Sarah Connor for the legs. Maybe something like that. Maybe when Vasquez comes out, throw in a couple of Vasquez parts. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to Frankenstein this thing out. But the fact that the upper body has a green tank top and no sleeves really kind of helps me think that I could do it. as well as having these gloves as well. So I want to maybe do that in the future. But anyway, so I really like that they give you these. And then she has a flashlight, or a torch if you're from across the sea. It's fairly simple. It's just all one solid piece of black plastic. No kind of wash or anything like that. They did paint this part white. That's about it. A little bit of sculpting, you know, and that there's like, oh yeah, it would have a grip, little grippy middle part. And you can see the little switch there, but pretty simple, although it's just a flashlight. I mean, not really, I don't know what else anyone would be expecting from that. And then she comes with this thing, and man, I was gonna look up the name because it's been a really long time since I've seen the movie. I don't know if they just straight out said what these are called. But for the most part, I think it looks pretty good. It has, you're probably not gonna be able to tell since I'm doing these reviews kind of late at night and I don't have the best lighting like in the day when I usually do them. But there's kind of a wash. It's kind of like a, I don't know, I want to say like a metallic kind of copper-ish, but it's really hard to say. For the most part, it just looks black. Like you have to have it kind of close up and in the light to see that, oh no, it's supposed to kind of be, there's a little bit of copperness to it. Copperness? That's not a word, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so they have that. I think it came out pretty good, and it's got, this is actually plastic, so it's not real string, but it's very, very bendy, so it may as well be, but it isn't, so be careful, you don't want to like snap it. So she comes with that. What would have been awesome if she came with like a piece of bishop, just like jacked up, wrecked up bishop. That would have been great. But unfortunately, no. And or if we got that as like a separate character, that would have been really cool. Instead, we got nameless Wayland Yutani soldier number 2476, like whatever. I think a mutilated bishop would have been better. But anyway, so those are her accessories. Okay, for articulation, she can look left. She can look right. She can't look down worth a damn. She can kind of look up a very tiny amount, not high enough to be checking the ceilings, I think, for when Xena would be right on top of you. But I mean, kind of, sort of. Be cool if she could look down at all, but no. So really just kind of left and right. At the shoulder, it's a ball joint, so she's got really good range of motion. And then for the elbow, it's just a single jointed elbow, the curse of all female figures. They're only allowed just one joint. But it does swivel, and this is the same for her extra arms as well. Anyways, then her wrist rotates, and I hesitate to call this a hinge, but there's kind of a hinge. If you have NECA figures, you know this tiny little weak-ass hinge that they give their characters, so it's like kind of, sort of, bends, not really. I mean, it doesn't matter who you buy, Hudson, Hicks, Dutch from Predator, like they all have this weak little hinge. It feels kind of weird on this one too. This one feels like really loose. So she's got that going on. Now, she does have a diaphragm joint, and it's really well hidden within the folds of her shirt. And she also has waist rotation. So this doesn't really let her ab crunch very much. I mean, very, very, very minuscule movement there, and she doesn't hold that position. But it does let her twist and turn. And then the waist moves a little bit as well. Oh, it just popped off. This is what happens when you have oh man, now how does it feel to be bishop? Anyways, so that's what happens when it's like a separate piece, but around the edges it's kind of like a softer plastic, so it does turn pretty well. Anyway, so there's the joint, and you can see how that's supposed to be. I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it like that for now. And then for the legs, it's another ball joint, and this lets them kick their legs up really high thanks to what I'm just gonna call the Neca crotch, where it's a separate piece and it's usually like a kind of a softer plastic, so you can see that it bends when you bring the leg up. So pretty good articulation there at the thighs. No thigh swivel at all or anything like that. And then a single jointed knee, but it does rotate. And then she has rotation at the ankle, and it does have a hinge, but I mean it's not very big, but I mean it's there. She does kind of have you know, that ankle rocker. No toe articulation, but she does have peg holes on the bottom of her feet. I feel like this foot, the hinge on this one's a little better. But yeah, pretty simple. I guess they don't want to mess with the sculpt too much. So I don't know, kind of basic articulation from a NECA figure. I don't think they did anything different. I think this figure is really cool. I feel like it looks like Sigourney Weaver, but part of me thinks I can only say that because I know that it's supposed to be Sigourney Weaver. From certain angles, it always looks more like her than others. I don't know. I mean, to me, yes, it does. It does look like her. But again, only because I already have that information before. I know it's supposed to be her, and that's how I know what to look for. But outside of that, I'm not entirely sure it looks exactly like her. But I mean, a pretty good job. Probably as good a job as you can expect from an action figure. Okay, now what I like about this figure is a lot of the detail. There's something that NECA does that I think they do very well, and that's that having different materials. And they make, I mean, to me it's like, okay, this looks like it's supposed to be leather, or maybe pleather, I guess, like fake leather, whatever, faux leather. But then her shirt, it does look like it's fabric. And then you go down to the pants. Focus here. Right, so you go down to the pants, and look at that. They kind of look like they're kind of like oh, whatever that material is that backpacks are made out of. That's the kind of material that I feel like these pants are made out of. So I really like that. I also really like the paint job. Everything looks really perfect, and something that I think is really cool, and these little holes in her pants. You can notice it better here. They're painted kind of a lighter color around the edges of the holes, and it really makes it look really cool. So that's really great. All this little detail, the shoelaces being a different color. I mean, like how's that for a paint job? Painted all the little shoelace rings and paint each individual shoelace. That is fantastic. Now, while I did say that you might not be able to tell that it's Sigourney Weaver if you didn't already know, I guess that could be here or there. Now, I think it looks like Sigourney Weaver. I think out of all the Sigourney Weavers, that this looks the closest to her, at least in my opinion. I guess we'll have to see, like, when the Diamond Select Sigourney Weaver figure comes out, like who does Sigourney, you know, more justice or what have you. But to me, the fact that it looks a lot like her, that goes a long way. Also, her hair. A lot of really, really nice detail, and again, just the paint and everything they did, that's really, really cool. Even to get this bruise, or that bump there. Now, on some figures, that bruise looked a little too red. Sometimes some of the other Ripleys that I saw, their skin looked kind of weird, like it was a darker color, and they were shinier, so it looked like she was wet. I don't know what that was all about. I got this one, and some of the other characters didn't have like the best makeup. I felt like I grabbed what was the best one out of the bunch, so I'm really happy with this. But if you're gonna pick it up, you might want to take a closer look and examine the face. So I like that. I mean, just looking at the character, just standing them up, just been kind of posing them around. I'm very, very satisfied. I mean, to me, this is really cool because this was a Ripley that I didn't think we would get. Aliens 3 not being like the most popular, although Alien 1 is my favorite, but I really, really like Alien 3. I know not a lot of people do, but I do. And I think they did a really, really, really good job here. I also like that her accessories were 2 extra sets of arms, and that you can take this jacket off to display her without it. That's really, really cool. Now, just for like a personal thing, I like when girls wear tank tops. I don't know, I just think it's cool when a girl shows off her arms, when she has nicely toned arms, and Ripley does have some pretty nicely toned arms as far as this figure is concerned. So I really like that. I think that's really cool. I'm really glad that this is what we got, because they didn't have to. They didn't have to do this. And I could see all the times where they would. I mean, a lot of characters don't come with very many accessories. Like, Amanda Ripley didn't come with a lot of accessories, even though that in Alien Isolation she has lots of different tools and so on. And she didn't really come with all of that. You have to buy a whole separate Amanda Ripley, the one in the spacesuit, just so you can get the gun, of all things. So, I think that's also a really cool thing that NECA did here by adding in the extra arms and the removable jacket. I hope they keep that in mind for other characters that have different kinds of clothes where they can do that some more. Okay, now for what I think is the bad. Now, on my figure, I'm going to zoom in here. Now, it kind of looks like one nostril, the one on the right, is a little bit bigger than the other. And that is because for whatever reason, NECA is painting in the nostrils. Now, granted, to notice this on mine, we're having to zoom all the way in, so ordinarily I don't notice it. But on a lot of the figures I saw, the nostrils were huge. It was just like you got a marker and you just made 2 little black dots, and I don't know, they looked really weird. Had I would have just picked one up off the shelf and went home without examining it, I'd be kind of disappointed, and to have freaking pig nose Ripley. So that would have kind of bugged me. Now, luckily that's not the case for mine, but I mean, if you don't have this figure yet, but you're going to pick it up, maybe you might want to look out for that. So that might be a problem. I'm not really sure. The other thing that I think is kind of weird, and someone can tell me if I'm just seeing things or not, but I feel like this side of her head kind of comes out a little bit more. I don't know, it's some sort of optical illusion because of her hairline. Like maybe her hairline is not like 100% symmetrical, but I feel like this part sticks out a little bit more. Like she's got some sort of hemorrhaging going on here. Maybe that's because of this wound here, or maybe Sigourney Weaver just kind of has like an odd shaped skull. It was like this side of her brain's like a lot bigger than the other side. That looks kind of weird to me. What do you think? I mean, I just that's how I see it. It looks really weird. Anyway, so there's that. But something else that I really don't like is the hinges that the NECA puts on their human characters. They're very tiny. You get like only a little bit of movement, and they never like I'm gonna move it down, but like it doesn't really stay like that. Like they're worthless. Like they're worthless hinges. Like they're there for seemingly no reason at all. And it doesn't matter who you buy, whatever. It could be this Ripley, another Ripley, it could be Dutch from Predator, whatever. Hudson, Hicks, they all just have this weak, lame wrist hinge. And so I would really like it if they, I don't know, maybe did something about that. Then another problem I have is when characters only have double jointed elbow. I mean, when they don't have double jointed elbows and they only have single joints. And especially this happens a lot to female characters. And I don't know if that's because female characters' arms aren't as big. But, you know, my DC Icons, Harley Quinn has double jointed elbows, and her arms aren't exactly, you know, ginormous or anything like that. So I don't know why they don't do that. In the case of NECA, I feel like when they make these decisions, it's so as not to mess with the sculpt. But I mean, either way, like, come on, man. Can't we just get double hinges on everybody? Because it's really hard to get some of the poses that I'd like to get. And while this doesn't apply to this particular Ripley, a lot of characters that are holding guns, it's really hard to get them to hold a gun properly. It's like you can only ever have your soldiers or Marines or what have you shoot from the hip instead of keeping the butt of the rifle against their shoulder like they damn well should. And so it just kind of bugs me, whatever. So I kind of wish she had better elbow joints. Now, before I put her back together, she's still in pieces here. I decided to leave her like this, if only to talk about this one particular thing. This that I call the NECA crotch. Well, I guess it's not unique to NECA. PlayArt's Kai figures do this sort of thing too, where the crotch piece is like a separate piece, and then it's of a much more like softer plastic. And this is great. This is great in that you can bring characters' legs up. I do like that about it, but at the same time, it just looks kind of weird, this being like a separate piece. Now that is amplified by this particular figure because of the design of these pants, or the sculpt of these pants, in that it looks like a diaper. I don't know about anyone else, but to me this looks like a big brown diaper. Now part of that is also Ripley kind of has like a flat ass but also a big ass. And so just the way that it looks, like, I just can't help but see it as like a big brown diaper. I don't know. No, it's not like whatever. I made a complaint about Amanda Ripley having the same kind of problem, and I know someone got like a little mad because I'm like, hey, how come they're not sexy or whatever? I'm not talking about sexiness. Like, okay, so she has like a totally flat ass. All right, whatever. I don't really care, but I'm just saying that just makes this look even more like a diaper to me. So I'm not trying to be sexist or whatever, but I guess that's how it comes across. I'm not going to pretend that I'm not perverted or anything like that, or that I don't notice that sort of stuff. But I'm just saying, in this particular instance, with this particular sculpt, the way they have the pockets coming out, I almost thought maybe you could put her hand in her pockets. That's what they were going for, but not really. But that just brings it wider out, and it just looks like a diaper. So I'm fucking sorry, but that looks like a diaper. My other problem is having a single jointed knee. Come on, man. You're telling me I can't even get double jointed knees on this fucking toy? Come on. So I really would have liked double jointed knees, at least that much. Any other kind of articulation would have been nice, maybe if more rotation here or anything else like that. But that, to me, that's nitpicky stuff. It doesn't really bother me. But when it comes to stuff like that, come on, man, double jointed knees, please.